What's going on, YouTube? Mr. Wheels here once again, bringing you another episode of Sports Talk. And this is the second video I'm doing tonight, the second half of my NHL Stanley Cup preview for 2014. I've done the Eastern Conference already. I'll put the video in the description box below. I would ask that you like and subscribe to this video. I could really use the support. Let's get right into the matchups. First one I'm going to talk about is San Jose and LA. I like LA in this series. Justin Williams of the LA Kings is from my hometown. I think LA is going to take this series in as little as 6 games. I like Jonathan Quick over Anahiem. I like LA's defense better than San Jose's. I think LA has one of the best defenses in the league. And if you look at their top 4, I'm going to say it's going to be Slava Voinov and Drew Doughty, and probably, now that they're both healthy, probably Willie Mitchell and Matt Green. But it could be Alec Martinez and somebody else in there as well. I've actually drawn a blank on their defense for a minute, but overall I like LA's defense better than San Jose. I'm not taking anything away from Dan Boyle and guys like Mark Edward Vlasic, but I just think LA has the edge in every area: goaltending, defense, offense, if they play well. And we expect, the LA Kings fans expect that guys like Anze Kopitar and Dustin Brown and Jeff Carter and those guys are really going to step up and have an impact. But I'm going to call out Justin Williams and say that, he didn't have the season that he was on pace for. He was on pace for like 28 goals and however many assists, and he didn't reach that mark. But he's a big playoff performer. He scored big playoff goals before, including the Stanley Cup winner in 06. Justin Williams and needs to round out their LA's top 6 forwards and have a strong playoff. And LA's bottom 6 forwards, like Jordan Nolan and Colin Fraser and Trevor Lewis and Dwight King, all those guys need to step up and have a better playoff than they did last year. But overall, I think it'll be LA in 6. Let's talk about San Jose for a minute. They're obviously going to be led by Joe Thornton, Joe Pavelski, Patrick Marleau. Thomas Hertl needs to get in there and make an impact. Brett Burns, all those guys, if they play well, San Jose definitely has a chance in this series. But I like LA. My money's on LA in probably 6 games. It might go 7, though. Let's move on to Dallas and Anaheim. I like Anaheim in this series because I think they're probably one of the deepest teams in the NHL. I like Corey Perry and Ryan Getzlaf. But, they've lost Dustin Penner. So they're really going to need to rely on guys like Nick Bonino and some of their other guys. I can't think of them right now. They've obviously got some old guys on the team that need to step up and have a major impact, like Saku Koivu and Teemu Selanne. Teemu Selanne, this is his farewell. So hopefully Anaheim will get a little further in the playoffs this season. The one area that I don't like, that I don't really think Anaheim has the edge in, is in net. I would take Kari Lehtinen over Victor Frost or Jonas Hiller, because to me, if it's Jonas Hiller in net, he doesn't look like he did a few years ago when he first came into the league and Anaheim made the playoffs. He was really good. He stole, playoff games for Anaheim, and I don't think he's playing at the same level right now. So I like Anaheim. I think they'll take it in about 6 games, but Dallas does have a chance. Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin are really going to have to carry the offensive load. But Anaheim or Dallas is one of those teams. They're kind of like a Tampa Bay in the Western Conference. they find a way to win. I don't think anybody even had them making the playoffs this year, and they find a way to win. So if Dallas is going to win this series, Kerry London needs to stand on his head, and their big offensive players need to carry the offensive load. Where Dallas has the edge, in my opinion, is slight edge in goal, and they have the slight edge in toughness and just physicality. I think they're the more physical team. They've got some more tough. They've got better tough guys, in my opinion. But you know, it's really a question of whether they can match up defensively with Anaheim, because I really like Anaheim's defense. You know, when you talk about they got Stefan Robidas from Dallas, they've got Cam Fowler and Francois Beauchemin, and just they've got a great defense. Is my point, and I think Anaheim easily takes this in 6. Let's move on to Minnesota and Colorado now. Minnesota's another one of those teams that, you know, they just find a way to win. They're not, I wouldn't say they're overly great. I like Colorado in this series. I think they're a better offensive team. I'd give Minnesota a slight edge on defense when you got a guy like Ryan Suter, and you know, they got some other guys back there that I'm not even going to really bother mentioning. In fact, about the defense of both teams, I really could take them or leave them. I like Colorado offensively with, you know, I think Matt Duchene and Gabriel Landeskog and Nathan McKinnon, I think they're really going to have a coming out in this playoff series, and they're just going to score fast and furious, and I think they're a quicker team. Minnesota may have, you know, Danny Heatley and Zach Parise and some other guys, but Danny Heatley's old, and Zach Parise, to me, he's shown that he can't win the big one. So I'm taking Colorado in 6 in this series. I don't really have much else to say about it. Let's move on to Chicago and St. Louis. Now, I'm giving, even though St. Louis is limped into the playoffs, losing like their last 6 or 7 games in a row, I'm giving the edge to St. Louis because there's guys on that team that are going to step up, even without TJ Oshie. They've got Ryan Miller now. He can be a playoff goaltender. He's got a great defense in front of him. And Chicago, on the other hand, is limping into the playoffs as well, but in a different respect. They've got Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane, 2 of their top guys, questionable for the first round. They're going to need to rely on Patrick Sharp and Marian Hossa big time. Brian Bickle's going to need to have a big playoff series if Chicago's going to even have a hope in hell, in my opinion. I like Ryan Miller over Corey Crawford. I'm not a big fan of Corey Crawford. I think he's a clumsy goalie, even though he won the Stanley Cup. Where Chicago has the edges on defense, I think they have probably the best defense in the NHL with Seabrook and Keith and Nicholas Stromerson and Johnny Oduya, and there's other guys there too, but those are the only guys I can really remember and want to really mention right now. So, you know, I'm going to say that this is going to be a close series, and St. Louis in 7. They're going to knock off the Stanley Cup, the reigning Stanley Cup champions in 7 games. And Chicago, if they get Kane and Taves back, they do have a chance it could be over in 6 if Chicago plays well. But I'm saying, for my money, St. Louis in 7. Guys, I know this hasn't been a great video on my part. I've stumbled a few times, but please like up this video. Please let me know what you think. I want to know who you think will come out of the West. I think it's going to be LA and St. Louis in the conference final. I hope. I would love to see that conference final. And LA is going to move on to the Stanley Cup final. And they're going to play the Detroit Red Wings. So, once again, if you like the Detroit Red Wings, like up this video, please. And I'm going to say that LA repeats as Stanley Cup champions. Again, leave your comments below. I will leave the other half of this two-part video series in the description box, and I will see you next time.